We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
IRS going after waiters and waitresses, Twitter on the hot seat, widespread Chinese spying, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The Internal Revenue Service proposed a revenue procedure this week to crack down on the service industry's reporting of tips. The Service Industry Tip Compliance Agreement program would be a voluntary tip reporting system in which the IRS and service industry companies cooperate, according to the IRS's announcement on Monday. As part of the proposal, the IRS will give the public until early May to provide feedback on the program before implementing it. Those 87,000 new IRS agents that you were promised would only target the rich, tweeted Mike Pellants, Federal Affairs Manager at Americans for Tax Reform. They're coming after waitresses' tips now. According to the IRS, the program would seek to improve tip reporting compliance, reduce administrative burdens, and provide more transparency and certainty to taxpayers. Biden repeatedly stated that no one making under $40,000 would be a target of the IRS. This policy clearly shows this to be a lie. The House Oversight Committee held hearings to grill 3 former Twitter executives about the social media platform's brief 2020 blocking of the sharing of a New York Post story about the contents of a laptop that reportedly belonged to Hunter Biden, President Biden's son. The former executive said removing the story was a mistake. The move, which was reversed 24 hours later, was an attempt to help Biden ahead of the 2020 presidential election and an example of anti-conservative censorship by Twitter and other social media giants. The investigation is looking into ties between the FBI and Twitter and whether or not a government agency was interfering in the election. AOC threw one of her trademark temper tantrums, describing the Hunter Biden laptop as half fake, despite being verified by an overwhelming number of media outlets, including the New York Times and Washington Post, and that Hunter Biden's own lawyers have verified its authenticity. Senior U.S. military and national security officials confirmed that the Chinese spy balloon shot down off South Carolina's coastline over the weekend was tied to a major surveillance program run by China's military. The program has been largely run out of China's Hainan Island province off its southern coastline in the South China Sea by the People's Liberation Army. It has been known to operate over regional neighbors like Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam, the Philippines, and India, the Washington Post first reported. But these surveillance balloons, used to collect military intelligence from nations that are of strategic interest to Beijing, have also emerged over the U.S. before. An international investigation found strong indications that President Vladimir Putin signed off on a decision to provide an anti-aircraft missile system to Russia-backed separatists in eastern Ukraine, which was used to shoot down Malaysia Flight 17 in 2014. Dutch prosecutors who led the inquiry indicated that this was true on Wednesday. There was no evidence Putin ordered the strike. The Joint Investigation Team previously said the missile that hit the Boeing 777, killing all 298 people aboard, was a Russian-supplied Buk surface-to-air missile. A Dutch court in November convicted 2 Russian former state security officers and a Ukrainian separatist leader on murder charges in the case, although they were never arrested. Dutch prosecutors said the team was suspending the criminal investigation because all leads have been exhausted. Florida lawmakers advanced a proposed state takeover of Disney World's Reedy Creek Improvement District, which has given the entertainment giant special status since 1967. Under the overhaul plan, Governor Ron DeSantis would appoint a new 5-member board to replace the existing one, and Reedy Creek would be renamed the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District within 2 years. Disney would be on the hook for tax benefits it had gotten, although some reports say it will get to keep many of the benefits that it had before the bill is being passed. The legislation revises a bill DeSantis signed last year after he targeted Disney over its opposition to the state's parental rights and education legislation. Meanwhile, Disney CEO Bob Iger announced that the entertainment giant would cut 7,000 jobs and $5.5 billion in costs under a reorganization, giving more authority to people responsible for creating content. The company also will increase its focus on sports media. Iger outlined the plans in his first earnings call since returning as chief executive after Disney's board dismissed Bob Chapek in November. Iger said Disney would change its TV and movie offerings, reinstate its dividend, and possibly adjust the prices of its streaming services. It's time for another transformation, Iger said. Disney shares rose 5.7% in after-hours trading. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.